Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of NFL 101. In this episode, since it's draft season, I know I've been on this kind of thing for a little bit, but since it's draft season, I thought it would be a good idea if I gave you a, uh, a, uh, a description of what it means to be an NFL draft bust. Give me one moment. There we go. That might be a little better in terms of lighting. But anyway, so, you know, what does it mean to be a draft bust? Or to bust in the NFL? Well, in its simplest terms, uh, an NFL, a draft bust, at least in the NFL, and this might go for all other sports as well, but a bust in terms of the NFL is a player who does not meet the expectations of the team that drafted them. Now, at the team that drafted them, at the position they drafted them at. Now, does that mean teams don't reach on players? No, and that's the other part of this. This is a two for you guys. Um, a the you're getting sort of a two food. Now, actually, no. Nah, no, I'll save that for. I might save that for next week. But anyway, a draft bust in the NFL, at least in the NFL, is a player. As I said, it's a player that doesn't meet the expectations of the team that drafted them. Now, as I explained in another episode, uh, later on the line, I know I say that a lot, but you get there are some points where NFL teams uh, reach for play or draft players that they shouldn't be drafting at positions they shouldn't be drafting them at, whether that's higher or lower. But that really doesn't happen. So there in the draft, I know I've explained the draft before. If you want to watch a draft, wait till the end of the video. I'll have a card there to help you, or I'll have something there to pin you to episode 2 of NFL 101 that'll explain the draft. Now, as I've explained, there are 7 rounds in the draft, and round 1 is the most important because it's the first round of the draft, and it's the most important. And it's for all they clearly define the best players get drafted. Not saying the other players that get drafted or the players that don't get drafted aren't talented or aren't good at what they do. It's just that these players that are drafted in the first round are expected to be essentially ready, NFL ready, the first day they step on an NFL field. So now, and the higher up in round 1 that you're drafted usually means that teams think that's a measure of how good teams think you are. Are you drafted in round first? Are you drafted in round 1? Second, how high were you? Are you a number 10 pick overall, or are you number 32? And right, okay, pick number 32 is generally the transition pick from round 1 to round 2, and you're the 32nd pick in the first round kind of gets overlooked, and it's just the end of the round, and yeah. But so yes, where you are drafted in the NFL draft has something to do with the expectations that are placed on you in your playing career. Now, that being said, there are players that have exceeded expectations. Tom Brady, um, the guy who is the current GOAT of the NFL, was drafted in the 6th round. Now, in hindsight, people would have said, oh, hey, he's going to win 7 Super Bowls. Draft him. But that doesn't mean anything. Players can't get drafted, and players can't get drafted to teams, and other teams wish they could have drafted him, but they could be different players on another team. So now the other side of this is when an NFL team does reach when and I'll explain this. I wasn't going to initially, but I'll explain this later. NFL, the other side of the draft bust is NFL teams occasionally will draft players that higher than they should be drafted. I don't have a named example, but there are players in the NFL that if you're watching this to truly learn about the NFL, ask someone who knows the NFL well. But I'm here to tell you that there are players in the NFL that were probably drafted higher than they should be. Whether that was, hey, they were drafted in the first round and they should have been a sixth round pick, or they were drafted in the third round when they should have been a seventh round pick. But that doesn't mean, yeah. So, and that's pretty much it. This is a bit of a shorter episode. This might be a bit of a shorter episode. There are two parts to every story. There are NFL teams that draft a player too high, and that's called a reach. And then there are players that are drafted that they should be drafted at that pick, but they end up failing. Now, on field, what might an NFL draft bust look like? To the man I'm about to name, I'm sorry, but this is you. Ryan Leaf is a really good example of an NFL bust. A player that was expected to be a player that was expected to be a day one, or maybe, hey, if you're lucky, you'll sit for a few weeks in the season, but you are the most ready to be started game one of the NFL season. But he wasn't. Johnny Manziel, another great one. He wasn't either, and there's a lot of factors that go into being a bust. Yeah, one, you were probably drafted high, which I've explained. Number two, you failed to meet those expectations, and three, the player might have had a lot of potential, a lot of perceived potential, or a lot, like I said, round one those players are expected to start in the first game of the season, or fairly close to the first game of the season. But that doesn't mean they have the right attitudes. That doesn't mean they have the right. That doesn't mean they whether they are expected to start the first game of the season. It does not mean they can start the first game of the season in terms of ability, or in terms of attitude. Now, the NFL draft is all about potential. When a draft prospect is visiting an NFL team, they see the potential of this person to not only play in the league, but hey, we're going to spend a high value pick on you so that you can actually see things that benefit you. Now, I believe that's all I have for you in terms of the draft bust. There's more to being a draft bust that I did not explain, and this is just essentially the basics, y'all. Again, here's where you now I'm gonna here's where I put the video. If you wanna learn more about the draft process in general, click on this video to learn about the NFL draft. And if you wanna learn about the NFL, more about the NFL in general, click the playlist, and that'll take you to the NFL 101 playlist. And if you like this video, obviously like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later.